How's it going, everybody? I just got home from school. I actually watched the whole entire Apple event in the back of my classroom, and surprisingly, nobody even saw me. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the specifications and basically going through all the tech specs, what's new between the new iPad and the iPad 2. Yes, I'm calling it the new iPad because that's what they actually called it during the event the whole entire time. They didn't sit there once. They didn't say this once. iPad 3. They never said that. They never said iPad HD. They never said anything like that. They just called it the new iPad. So it's not specified as the iPad 3, but for the sake of this video, I will be calling it the iPad 3 throughout this just because it's what makes most sense to me, and hopefully it's what makes most sense to you. So going through, we're first going to be talking about the models. Basically, you're going to have a Wi-Fi and a Wi-Fi plus 4G LTE model. 4G LTE is new to this. We were a little bit skeptical on whether or not we would actually get 4G LTE because 4G LTE is not perfected. It drains battery quickly and so on. And they actually were able to promise that with 4G LTE enabled on the iPad 3, you would be able to have 9 hours of battery life, and with the Wi-Fi, you'd be able to have 10 hours of battery life, which that's a big promise, and hopefully it will work out fine in that way. Basically, the height, width, and depth are going to be the same exact as the iPad 2. This model looks very, very similar. I can't really notice any physical differences on the outside of the device, except the weight. The weight is very slightly different, not to a huge noticeable degree, but it is slightly different. Also with storage, it's the same. There's no 8GB model. It's all 16 gig, 32 gig, 64 gig for both the 4G LTE models as well as the Wi-Fi models. Let's go ahead and talk about the display. We did end up getting a display, a Retina display in this case. It is the 9.7-inch diagonal LED backlit glossy widescreen multi-touch display with IPS technology, as assumed and as reported earlier by the rumors on Mac Rumors and so on. 2048 by 1536 pixel resolution. That would be 264 pixels per inch, which is just crazy. Fingerprint resistant coating, which is nice because fingerprint, there were just huge issues on the iPad 2. My iPad 2 right now is covered in fingerprints. Hopefully that fingerprint resistance will work a little bit better with this iPad. Now the A5X processor was also introduced to the iPad 3, or the new iPad I should say, in which is a dual-core Apple A5X custom designed high-performance, low-power system on a chip with quad-core graphics. Yes, so it's still dual-core, but they're specifying it as a quad-core because of the fact that, it's technically dual-core, but it can do what a quad-core can do. That's what they're saying. So hopefully they do live up to those standards. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the carriers. Same exact carriers. You're going to have AT&T, Verizon, no Sprint in this case with the iPad 3 or the new iPad. One of the biggest things were cameras. Lots of people actually enjoy taking cameras. Some people, it's just a little bit weird to sit there and hold up your camera on an iPad because the iPad is just so dang huge. Taking a picture just might be a little bit awkward, but I actually kind of find it fun to sit there and take a little video with the back-facing camera just in your spare time, just for the fun of it, because it is a little bit fun because you have this huge screen. So what they did with the cameras is they had a 5-megapixel iSight camera, autofocus, tap focus, face detection, and get this, high resolution HD 1080p recording up to 30 frames per second with audio and video stabilization, which is just awesome. 1080p HD, that will look stunning hopefully on the back. The cameras were due for a big upgrade from the iPad 2. Now let's go ahead and talk about the battery. It will be the same 10 hours of battery life with the Wi-Fi model, and they're saying if you are surfing the web with 4G LTE on, it's going to be about 9 hours, which is just 1 hour less, nothing major, but 10 hours is just great that they were able to actually stay with that 10 hours that they had with the iPad 2. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the sensors. You have the same sensors in the device. You have the accelerometer, ambient light sensor, and gyroscope, the three sensors that have always been in all three iPads. And that's basically just going to be the same for the most part. Now, also at this event, we introduced many new applications. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any new built-in applications. There's still going to be the same Safari, Mail, Messages, Photos, FaceTime, Newsstand, App Store, iTunes, Videos, Maps, Music, Game Center, photo booth, YouTube, contacts, reminders, calendars, notes, cameras. Now, with all those applications, you might be asking a little bit about Siri. We were all hoping for full Siri integration with the next generation of iPad. Unfortunately, we did not get full Siri integration. When I saw that they were just doing Siri dictation, I thought that was kind of cool because I really do enjoy using Siri dictation. It works well. It's a lot easier than typing, and I'm thankful that that was able to find its way onto the next generation of iPad, but still, I'm not that happy that they did not introduce full Siri on the next generation of iPad. It was just kind of disappointing in that way. Now, since we did a basic rundown of all the specifications and new features on the newer iPad, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the prices. Now, luckily for all you guys wanting the Wi-Fi model, it's going to be the same exact price as the previous iPad 2, and so for the 16 gigabyte, it's going to be $499, 32 gigabytes is going to be $599, and the 64 gigabyte is going to be $699. Now, for the Wi-Fi 4G LTE model, there's a whole different story. Basically, if you're wanting one of those models, you're going to have to pay almost a $130 more than what you would have to pay for an iPad 2 3G when that was the leading iPad. Now, for the 16 gigabyte, it's going to cost $629. For the 32 gigabyte, it's going to cost $729. And for the 64 gigabyte, it's unfortunately going to be $829. Now, if you are interested in getting the iPad 2 now, it is available on Apple's website for a cheaper price of $399. Now, let's go ahead and move on to talk a little bit about the release date. For countries like the United States and Canada and multiple other countries, you will be able to get your hands on the device on March 16th. In fact, pre-orders are available on Apple's website right now if you want to go ahead and pre-order. And then for the rest of you guys, it's going to be March 23rd, I believe. You guys can check in the description below. I'll write a post about it on the site in which you guys can go there and check out all the countries and when they're going to be coming out in your area and so on. So that's basically the dates and the prices of the device. Now, there were also a few other things introduced alongside of the next generation of iPad, the third generation iPad, including some new applications. They were at least announced at this event. One of those would be iPhoto for iPad. Yes, Apple iPhoto, well known on the Mac, is making its way to the iPhone, iPod Touch, and the iPad. In fact, it's already available in the App Store for $4.99. If you guys are interested in checking that out, I may or may not do an app review later on over iPhoto. Basically, it's going to feature smart browsing, multi-touch editing, professional quality effects, brushes, photo beaming, photo journals, and many other features. And it's pretty interesting during the keynote. By the way, also, if you guys want to check out the keynote, it is available in the description below. The description will be quite crowded. Also released alongside of the iPad third generation was iOS 5.1. iOS 5.1 really only features some battery fixes, bug fixes, and 2 new wallpapers for the iPhone and iPod Touch users out there. Also, I believe if you are an iPad 2 user at this time, when you upgrade to iOS 5.1, you will be able to get that Siri dictation key in your keyboard, which should be kind of nice for you guys if you do enjoy Siri dictation. And I'm not sure exactly on the wallpapers if those will be available on the iPad. Also, another thing released today was iTunes 10.6. That was released after the event. Once again, no major upgrades, just some bug fixes and stuff like that. Now, one of the things for all you guys who like the Apple TV, they did release a new interface in which I do not own an Apple TV, so I won't be doing a video over that, but I will be writing a blog post about it that will be available in the description below. They also mentioned the new Infinity Blade and a few other applications, and if you're interested in learning more about that, I will also have a blog post in the description below. I'm going to be writing a lot today. So check out all that stuff in the description below. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter as well as in the description below. Comment and thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. That would be really, really appreciated. Subscribe for more of our iOS devices. Like I said, blogs all available in the description below for external information. More information all available on my website, iosnova.com. Once again, thank you for watching. This is Sagatody 2744.